Hey traders, and welcome to this week's weekly wrap up. We're just about to get started here into the S&P. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're looking here on the S&P 500 daily, and what we can see here, remember last week we were saying we were long in this level here, and as it popped up higher we were seeing a pullback. We were a bit more aggressive with risk management due to the nature of what's been happening. It's more of a bearish trend that we have been witnessing, so we wanted to keep risk pretty tight. So we did get stopped out before it started rebelling higher. Now if we had left our risk as was, we would have been a couple of 2 or 3% in profit with that trade. Now it's not the end of the world. Like I said, with our other stocks in the portfolios, they've benefited quite nicely from this rally anyway. So it's one of those things you take as a trader, quick hit in the chin with certain trades. So this is just basically one of them. Now, if we're looking here on the lower time frames, we can see there was a bit of a channel forming last week. We did start to break below that, and then I think it probably might have trapped a number of traders trading this sort of wedge or sort of a rising channel pattern, and basically trapped them. So going into the weekend, you don't really want to be short something. So what we could see on Monday is a quick pop higher into this area. So if you look left, it's a definite area of resistance, once former support. So it's a definite area to start looking for any opportunities. And if we do get something, like a pull or like a pop higher up here, it's definitely an area to start watching and see what happens next. Now, there is a good chance that we get a rejection up here, so we're going to be looking for signals, specific signals we're going to be looking for trades. And if there is any, we'll probably take them. If there's not, we'll ignore it and see what happens throughout the rest of the week. Now, we have a few things in motion, or in our plan anyway, in motion, so we'll keep an eye on that for the meantime. Now, let's go on to volatility very quickly. Again, one thing to look for if you do trade something like this, it's really advanced, but just use it as like a kind of like a secondary overlay as to the S&P. You can trade it, but it's definitely not something you really want to trade if you're new or inexperienced. If we want to keep an eye on what's happening in the market, we can see if there's any fear basically seeping in. Now, as you can see here, we are pulling back quite aggressively into this sort of maybe the 60-55 area. So with the S&P coming up to an area where it could stall, you need to watch the volatility indexes like UVXY and TVIX and so on, and see what happens there as well. If they start to perk up a little bit around about here, you want to be a bit more alert on the equity side of things. And if we take a quick look on oil is bumping right up against support or resistance again. If we draw it in quickly, it's very, very clear and precise as to what sort of areas you want to pay attention to. So we can see on Friday there's a very nice outside reversal candle on the daily here. So we can see here is price bouncing really nicely. So in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 day run, just complete green bars, which is quite interesting. Pulling up into this area. Now, because it's a Friday candle, I don't give as much weight to it, but this is a really nice outside reversal. We've trapped the longs here, then closed down, trapped the shorts here as well, closing here. So it could be a decent candle to look for any opportunities if Monday and Tuesday present them decent signals on the intradays. If they don't, again, not be doing anything to rush into any trades, but we will be covering those in the blog post and seeing if there is anything. Now, if we look here on lithium as well, we can see here reacted very nicely to the area we've been looking at for the past couple of weeks now. We start to see that we'll go over another couple of stocks that are lithium related later. But yeah, this is the lithium index, so it's one to keep a very close eye on. If we start to pop above this trend line, we can be a bit more interested. So this is a bit of a fake breakout here, but if we can get a sustained breakout of here, probably a retest here, and then a breakout of this area long term into 2019, this could really set up the sector for a nice rally. Now if we do reject this and this area, you know, we could just meander about here for a few months, but ideally we want to see this as the low for 2019 and probably the low for the next couple of years. If it's not the low for the next couple of years, then yeah, we'll probably have to change our thesis on it and our bias on it as well. So let's move on to Bitcoin very quickly. Not an awful lot happening here. This is a very boring market. There's no volatility to trade properly. These massive buy bars and they do nothing, and massive sell bars, I think they're related to futures contracts being bought and expired. So it's not really something I'm overly interested in trading right now. So did capture a very nice trade, if you remember back probably 4 weeks ago now, back in the start to middle of December. Got a nice 7% trade in that one. Now we haven't traded it since. There's been no signals whatsoever, so sitting very patiently in this one and seeing what happens next. Ripple, again, very quickly, not one we're overly interested in. Basically, the lower the better. This is one for a very long-term account. So the lower it goes, you know, we want to see a quick flash probably. If we got a quick flash to the teens again, it'd be a decent area to start looking for signals. Probably looking, well, for myself anyway, probably a good 1 to 2 year hold, and you know, see how things plan out from there. Now if we're going to a couple more specific stocks, so a couple of ones that are moving last week was the Chinese sector. So we got the IQ and HUIA. So IQ started running first. Usually these two run in tandem. As you can see, charts are going to be very similar. HUIA. So as you can see, very similar sort of charts. Both parabolically went up, both have sold off, and both are starting to bounce. So took a trade in this one as well. Not too bad. We're still in that one at the minute. We will look to see any pullbacks to see if there's any more scaling opportunities. And if there is, great. If there's not, well, it's just something we'll keep an eye on anyway. So we're looking here on the next one, which is SAEX. We can see that this one has popped up quite nicely at the beginning of the week. And yeah, it's just been a nice runner for the past, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Could see this go, it's really hard to say, but it's a low float. It's got a lot of momentum, so yeah, you could easily see this start to creep into the 8s, 9s, 10s before any sort of failure like this. It's more than likely destined to do something like this in the past, or it just goes utterly berserk and then just dies off, and you know, it's basically just a long sell-off. So we'll be looking at any opportunities that this can present and go from there basically. And just to cover very, very quickly the last thing, which is a lithium stock, which we've got an eye on and have for quite some time. We're watching this one that's starting to break out of a nice downward sloping trend line. We just draw it in very quickly. It's been kept within that trend line for pretty much over a year, so November 2017. Back into this area of support. If you look left here, lots and lots of support in here. Long-term trend line, if it starts to break above that with momentum, and the main lithium ETF charts and etc. start to perk up, you know, this is one to keep a very, very close eye on and see how it goes and performs in future. So hope you enjoyed this. Wee bit longer than last time, but hopefully a bit more value as well. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks very much.